Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. So my name is Sandra Achieng, and I figured instead of doing a whole video on intro, how about it just be before I start my fast. Okay, so as I said, my name is Sandra Achieng, and basically I shall be doing videos on true crime while doing my makeup. So feel free to leave your suggestions down in the comment section, what you'd like to see in my channel, what you'd want me to do. Yeah, also if you're interested in the products that I shall be using, I'll be tagging them down in the description box. So yeah, I'm so excited and thank you so much for being here. So today I'm going to be doing a very controversial case. It's the case on Edwin Chiloba. Now when it came out, everybody had something to say and it was just all over the internet. But personal opinion, and everybody has the right to their own opinions. I feel like he was mostly judged based on the fact that he was an LGBTQ activist. Now everybody has their own opinion and right to think the way they want. That's what I feel. But I feel like people should get to know his story. They want to judge, you get. And so Edwin Chiloba, whose real name was actually Edwin Kiprotich Kipto, was born on the 2nd of August 1997 in Elgeyo Marakwet. Now his dad had 2 wives, and unfortunately when his mom passed away when he was really young, so they had to go live with the stepmom, who was actually really nice and accommodating. She was not the typical Cinderella stepmom. She took them in with his sister and she treated them like her own kids. So they lived with her until when he was in class 3. Unfortunately, she passed on. So when the stepmom also died, now he had to go live with the sister to the dad, now the aunt. Now at the same time, his sister also got married, so she kind of like moved out. So it was just him and the aunt and the dad. Now unfortunately, the aunt was not as nice to him as the stepmom was. She used to mistreat him, and she was a drunkard. She was a heavy drinker. She was very abusive. Basically, she made Edwin's life a living hell. She would call him names and just make his life not easy. Now Edwin would just persevere because at the same time he was always going to church, where he was learning all these values on forgiveness and not keeping a grudge and whatnot, and that's just how he was. He'd persevere and endure everything that was thrown to him by his aunt. So after persevering for quite some time, he decided to run away because he just couldn't take it anymore. It had become unbearable for him, so he'd rather he just go hustle somewhere else than stay at home. And I haven't seen anything written about what his dad did when he was going through all this, so we might as well just say he ignored, or he just chose not to say anything. Yeah. So Edwin moved out, and he was just moving from house to house, from neighbor to neighbor, just trying to survive, you know. Sometimes he'd sleep out. Sometimes when he gets a home, he would stay there. Sometimes people were not as accommodating. They'd want something in return, like him doing house chores or just doing something. Yeah, so that was basically his life until class 7. Now when he got to class 7, the teacher actually noticed him because he was doing good in school despite going through all these things, and the head teacher chose to kind of like listen to his story and actually take him in because he saw potential in him. So from that scholarship that the head teacher had given him, Edwin managed to finish primary school at Sagoit Primary School, and he actually performed well and got admission to St. Francis Kimoron High School. Now at this point the sister came back again because she was now kind of stable and gotten a good job that would actually pay her properly. She was able to take care of herself and also Edwin. So stepped in again, and when Edwin joined Form 1, she was the one who was taking care of him. Now when Edwin joined Form 1, he still continued being the same godly kid. In Form 1 he was a prayer coordinator, and in Form 2 he was a spiritual leader, so he was really good at school also. Now when he got to Form 3, that's when the dad came in again. According to reports, there's nothing being said about him being in his life throughout all these years, but in Form 3 he came back again and he started paying for his fees because he had heard that Edwin was a really good kid and he was doing what he was actually supposed to do in school. So as I said, the dad paid for his fees from Form 3, but unfortunately he passed on in 2015 before Edwin could do his KCSE. Now the sister, now again at the finishing part of 2015, when he was finishing high school, the sister had to also come again and pay. Edwin managed to get a B- in KCSE, which is not bad, but it couldn't get him to university on government sponsorship, you understand? So he had to go to parallel. Now when the dad passed away, he left some amount of money. He was a nurse when he was alive, so when he passed away, he left inheritance, which was a good amount of money. So when Edwin got to be minors in KCSE, the sister actually sat him down and was like, "You got to be minors, good grade, but it can't take you to university on government sponsorship. So what we can get you to uni on parallel. You could do education." That's how Edwin got to do education. He joined the university and he was doing education. Now he did first year, second year, and he actually realized that education is really not my calling. It's not what I want to do. I have a passion in modeling, and throughout those 2 years he was taking part in modeling. Most of the times he would join these competitions and all these modeling things that happened in universities, you understand? Yeah. And so he sat his sister down and told her, "Honestly, I feel like education is really not what I want to do. It's not my passion. It's not the career path that I want to choose." Now the sister was obviously pissed and angered because honestly she had paid fees for 3 years, which was expensive considering the fact that it was parallel. So she couldn't understand why he would say that. So she told him to at least finish because he was remaining with 1 year to graduate. So she tried talking him into finishing. At least he gets the certificate. So even if he would go to modeling, at least he has a certificate for education just in case something happened. But Edwin was like, "No, I'm not going to do this. I want to do modeling." So this really pissed the sister off, and which makes sense, honestly. It kind of makes sense. Then she went and told the uncles, now the dad's brothers, and everyone flipped. How do you just stop doing education to go do modeling? What is modeling? They were not understanding. They just couldn't get how modeling is a career, how modeling could earn you money, how modeling could actually put food on your table, and everybody was just mad and everyone flipped. Now this when they sat him down and they were like, "You know what, you really wasted our money." And they were like, "No, we just simply cannot accept you as one of our own. You're not one of our own. No, you're not." So he was rejected by his own family, and again he had to go through the same thing he went through when he was in primary. You can only imagine. Now he moved out. Obviously they didn't want him. He was now struggling. Now he wanted to know what he wanted to specialize on his interest in modeling. Now he would design clothes, he would make designs, post them on Facebook, post them on just social media platforms, and he just wanted to now do something he really loved. He would move from house to house. Again, as I said, he would just stay at his friends' places and try to do something. Now while he was just trying modeling and modeling, basically in 2018 he took part in the Face of Eldoret competitions, where he actually managed to take the third runners-up position. This was really encouraging to him, and this is just pushed him to go further. Well, in 2019 he came to Nairobi. He was just looking for an agency, and he got a friend who supported him and gave him a place to stay. Yeah, he managed to get an agency, the 254 agency, I guess that's what I found, where he managed to work with them for like a couple of weeks, months, and he was now like at a stable position. He went back to Eldoret, and right now he could now afford a place to stay. He could get a place for him to stay, and he continued practicing modeling. Now when he got back to Eldoret, he focused more and more on himself. He would post designs on Facebook, and people would actually show some love, a lot of love. He was getting a lot of support from the internet. Now in 2019, a man called Peter, I don't know how to pronounce his second name, I will put it down below, actually noticed his good works through Facebook and wanted him to make him some shirts, to design him some shirts for himself. So he told him to make him shirts. Now this was the beginning of something great for Edwin. When he got this gig, Peter and his wife Sonia, I will leave their second names below, I really don't know how to pronounce them, they actually got interested in him, and they invited him over for Christmas in 2019 while he was going to take the shots. Now when he went there, that was when he started telling them his story and told them basically how he had really suffered in life, how he was going through a lot, told them basically his whole life story. Now Peter and Sonia were really compassionate, and they were really interested. Edwin actually got a lot of favor from them, and they were very supportive, and they now asked him, do you feel like right now at this particular moment you'd want to go back to school and study fashion design? Edwin was like, yeah, sure, if I get somebody to actually pay my fees, I'd be more than glad to do so. And Peter and Sonia were really happy to help because they actually saw potential in Edwin. Now that's how Edwin joined the University of Eldoret, pursuing a course in fashion design. Now that he actually got the actual opportunity to do fashion and design, he did it to his best. Now he continued making designs, and now he would actually focus more on modeling and just creating his creative side, because he was doing fashion and design. In 2020, he took part in the Mr. and Mrs. Fashion from the University of Eldoret and managed to take the first runners-up position, which is not a shock because he actually was really doing the most in terms of fashion and design. In university, many people acknowledged him because of this talent, and he actually had a unique sense of designing. His fashion sense was just different from people's. Now fast forward to 2022, the beginning. Now Edwin was living on his own at this point. He got a house, and his friend Jackton Odhiambo actually joined him, and they started living together at the beginning of 2022. This according to the caretaker. Now, people describe their relationship as a cordial friendship. They were always together. They never fought. They lived a really peaceful life. Neighbors would actually say they saw them as brothers because they lived like so. They'd always go out together. If not, Edwin would actually be going out while walking his dog. He had a dog, and their relationship seemed normal. They never fought. They lived together very peacefully, according to the neighbors. Now, the caretaker would again say that when Jackton joined Edwin, he just knew him as the brother, and they would live really nice. The neighbors never complained of anything. Now, when New Year's Eve came, for Kuruka Kuingia 2023, sorry, well, New Year's Eve for 2023, they went to Tamasha Club in Eldoret. That's on 31st December, and they were really having a good time, just like everybody else. They were ready to see the new year. They were just having a good time, just like everyone around the world. They were celebrating New Year's Eve, and they were so ready to move to 2023. They're just having a really good time. Now, Edwin's sister, who's known as Melvin Faith, was actually working in the Tamasha Club that night, and she managed to speak to Edwin, and they spoke and they wished each other a happy new year. And according to her own words, Edwin seemed fine. Edwin seemed happy. They were having a really good time with Jackton, and nothing seemed off. So they wished each other a happy new year, and Edwin just left to go home. The sister didn't know that this would actually be the last time she was speaking to his brother. Now, there's a video of them just having a good time. Now, I'll leave a link down in the description box below if you haven't seen the video, or if you just want to see the video. Yeah, so in the morning of 1st January 2023, a commotion would be heard from Edwin's house. Seemed like people were fighting. So there was a scream, and then silence followed, like total silence. The neighbors didn't really pay much attention to it. They didn't. I really don't know. I don't know how Kenyans work, honestly, because I've seen videos from like American true crime, when kitu kidogo tu happen, washa pigia sijui 911. But Kenya, my God, you guys, okay, you take minding your own business to a whole other level. I mean, sometimes it was zingine. Now, nobody said anything, and life continued. Life just continued. Now, it seemed like somebody was using Edwin's phone. No, Edwin alikuwa anaonekana ako online. Nothing seemed off, because he would make transactions. People would see the online. Nobody even suspected anything until the 3rd of January. Now, Jackton called the caretaker using Edwin's phone. It was like, hey, we want to move out and stuff. The caretaker said, it's okay. The caretaker didn't even question. I mean, it's fine, but it was so random. So the caretaker came over, and actually, the neighbors had been complaining that there was some smell in the compound. I don't know. So kumbe, it was actually coming from Edwin's house. And when the caretaker asked Jackton, because the caretaker didn't see Edwin, Jackton claimed that a rat had actually died under the seats, and they hadn't gotten the chance to remove it. So the caretaker didn't ask much. On that same 3rd, when they were moving on, Jackton was moving out without Edwin. he was spotted carrying a big metallic box with the help of like 2 other men, and they loaded it. And at the end of it all, they actually moved out. Now, the next day, on Wednesday, 4th January, a metallic box was actually spotted on Kipenyo Kaptinga Road by a boda rider. And true to our Kenyan nature, this man just hangeendelea tu na kazi yake bila kwenda kuangalia. So he went and checked it out. And now people started gathering around. It was like, this metallic box is strange. It was not here like the other days. Imetoka wapi? So they decided to open, and on top it was like just clothes and duvets, I guess, yeah. And when akaendelea kufungua inside, he actually saw the body of a man dressed in woman's clothes. Now, obviously they were shocked, and people were already taking videos, and it was crazy. So he decided to call the police, and who came, and they actually found the body and took it and moved it to the Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital mortuary. Now at this point, videos are just circulating that, una box imepatikana kwa barabara, and videos are just going anywhere, and the caretaker happened to come across one of these videos, and he actually was like, wait a minute, isn't this the same box Jackton is carrying akihama? So he decided to go to the police and was like, yeah, there's this tenant from my house, alikuwa na move, and yeah, he was carrying the metallic box. Now, at this point, the police were obviously doing their investigations and everything, and it was just circulating all over the internet. People needed answers. So they were investigating among people, and on 6th of January, Jackton actually confessed himself to killing Edwin Chiloba, who was apparently his boyfriend, on allegations of cheating. I feel like this cheating and killing cases have been happening so oftenly. It's not right. Why should you just make a mistake unawa mtu because of cheating, and there are so very many fish in the sea? I mean, move on. It's not life and death. It's really not, never that serious. Anyway, he was taken in. Now he was arrested. Siamesha confessed and everything. Now, I recently saw they went to court, and there was a hearing, and then apparently now Jackton is switching it up, claiming that he did not kill him. Now you literally confessed, like you're just setting yourself up here. But honestly, I hope this case doesn't go cold. I hope justice is actually served. I don't think he really deserved it. The parents, Peter and Sonia, the white parents, actually expressed their sadness and their grief on Facebook. They just couldn't believe it. Many people believed in him. He had so much potential. He was very bright. He was creative. Even if you see his pieces, honestly, he was just unique. And I really hope that justice is served. Yeah, justice is actually served. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for reaching this far. Yeah, hope I really tried. This is my first video, but I promise I'll get better as time moves on. Just stay tuned. And yeah, I love you guys. Thank you for being here.